Hey folks, welcome back. Time for another installment in my Black Friday Bonanza series, which happened because I spent far too much money on Black Friday this year. This time we're looking at the spaceborne dystopian sci-fi RPG Vast Grimm by Infinite Black. Now, this game is produced and sold in the United States, which usually means that the shipping is far too expensive for me to even think about ordering it over here in the UK, but they had a fixed rate of £15 for shipping abroad. And so when they had a sale on the main book and the GM screen, I bought that and the other two books to make the shipping cost worthwhile. And they arrived here quickly and in good order. So if you are in the UK, you have an interest in this game, and I haven't seen any local stores, even Dungeonland, don't have this. So I would recommend going to the website, infiniteblack.com, and checking it out. It is basically a derivative of the very popular kind of indie, new school, old school game Mork Borg from the Stockholm Cartel, and many people have heard of that game. In fact, it's apparently the single highest selling item on dungeonland.co.uk right now, which is quite amazing, and by quite some distance. So it's very, very popular. Basically, the idea of Mork Borg is that it's what they call a kind of art punk new school game that uses old school principles. So there's a lot of random tables. Your characters are rolled up really quickly, really randomly, because they're not expected to live long. And there's an overall grim, dark vibe, which sort of derived from the Swedish death metal scene in a way. And every set of two-page spreads in the game is really an art piece of its own. So it by no means looks like a normal rulebook for an RPG. Every two-page spread is different. They used all kinds of different fonts and designs. Some people really hate it because they want the rules to be nice and clean and beautifully laid out, like in, Monty Cook Games type productions. Others, really, like myself, really enjoy it just for the variety and for the artistic integrity and interest that goes into it. I heard good things about Vast Grimm. I saw an actual play from, I think, the Glass Cannon Network that I really enjoyed, so I thought I'd give it a try. And so here we are. They've arrived. I've obviously unpacked them from the box already, just to make sure that everything was in good shape, and everything was packed beautifully. And as I said, it arrived in about a week, so I was really happy with that for the cost, especially these days. But I haven't dug into them yet, so this will be very much a first impressions video. So what we got here is the core rulebook, Vast Grimm, as you can see. Each miserable day that passes, the universe inches closer to its inevitable demise. Great. Vast Grimm is a rules-light RPG where everyone must band together in order to keep humanity alive. And the website there, vastgrimm.com, you can see Infinite Black are the producers, as I mentioned, and it is compatible with Mork Borg. In fact, it uses the same base system. So I suppose if you wanted to combine character classes from the two games, or bring monsters from Vast Grimm to Mork Borg, or vice versa, you could easily do that. And you'll see when we get to the monster listing that they're really, really simple. Everything is really boiled down to the bare essentials, and that's part of the experience of the game. So on top of that, we have the badass GM screen. I like that they call it that. We have the image from the back cover of the core rulebook. As you can see, the screen is actually inside this slip cover here, which is nice, keeps it protected. On the back, it says, this 5-panel Game Master screen is the most complete reference accessory for Vast Grimm. It is packed with quick reference for running adventures in a dying universe. So it shows you info on abilities and tests, armor tiers, battery charging, the broken chart, cosmic treasures, combat chart, crits and fumbles, fumble chart, how to use favors, morale, name generator, random space travel, reaction, rest, stealing from the dead, wandering grim, and what's your worm? One of the concepts of this game, by the way, is that everybody seems to be infected by these creatures called worms, which you see one here. Some of them can be huge. Some of them can actually get inside a person and turn them into one of the grim. More to come as we dig into the books on that. Here we have one of the expansions. You can see very thin book. The main book, I think, is 128 pages or so, and these expansions are only about 56 or 64 pages. This one is about space cruisers. So it adds starship creation, combat, and additional locations. So on the back here, it says your legion has survived and discovered a new to use starship. Now that you've got it, you need a few places you can stop to fuel up, make repairs, and get some advice on keeping it flying. So we got starship creation rules, 6 starship classes, starship combat rules, modding the starship, 3 new locations, and generators for abandoned starships. Very cool. Definitely suits the vibe of the game to be picking up random starships crashed on a rock somewhere, or to go investigating in abandoned starships filled with disgusting worms and various other things. And then finally we have the Space Raiders expansion. Just like the Space Cruisers one, you can see they have this kind of metallic sheen to the covers, which is really nice. So this one has new classes, factions, and hex crawl adventure rules. So, not ready to join a legion and save the verse? Maybe you're better suited as a raider, plundering, pillaging, and salvaging all that remains. Now's your chance to join a faction. So there's 4 new classes, which is pretty cool, 7 factions, quadrant maps for faction control, and Revenant's Revenge hex crawl adventure through the graveyard. So they pack a lot into these little books, and the reason that's possible is that the rules are really, really light. And we'll show off that by digging into the core rulebook here first of all. I'll put aside these guys for the moment. So, Vast Grimm, let's take a look. So one thing I like that they do, very much like Mork Borg, is that the charts you need to actually run the game are also kind of packed in on the end papers here. And it's the same in the back of the book. You have the rest of the rules that you need. I mean, you can really basically use these rules alone and these reference pages here to play the game. I mean, it's very, very simple to start. I think it's a great way to introduce people to the classic dungeon crawl style, you know, where combat is kind of something to be avoided and you're really trying to just survive your way through horrible environments. You know, look at how simple combat is. You roll a d6. If it's a 1 to 3, enemies start first. If it's a 4 to 6, PCs begin first. For each individual, then it's an agility plus d6 roll. Every test, basically, you just roll a d20 and you add a modifier, which you generate randomly during character creation, and then you try to beat 12. Essentially, that's it. You know, crits happen on a natural 20, fumbles happen on a natural 1. Armor subtracts a random amount of damage, but also has effects on your agility and defense tests if you are wearing heavier armor. You know, everything is just really simple, really straightforward. Each character has 4 abilities, which are the equivalent of your attributes in D&D. They finally slayed the sacred cow of ability scores, the 3 to 18 gibberish that we've been used to for all these years, where you generate that number and then you never use it because all you use is the bonus generated by that number. So they dispense with the pretense and you just generate the modifier, in other words. And Mork Borg does the same. It just makes a hell of a lot more sense, and they really should have done that in D&D many years ago. These 2 end papers, we've got D10 cosmic treasures, we've got random name charts, some random traps, random weather, things you can steal from the dead. So if you loot a corpse, things you might find. And they give you a little link here for safety tools. This is kind of a horror-based game, but they don't, again, waste much space at all in this book. So they recommend that you go to can't.rip/safety to look up tools to make sure that, you know, you don't go over the line when you're dealing out horrible things to your players. So let's say we got some background info here. The Earth that once was has been sliced through, gnawed at, chewed up, and spit out. All that remains are floating vestibules anchored to the fragmented carcass of an exploded planet. And the ships, is there fuel in their cores? Is it even possible to evade and escape the inevitable? I think not. Those who still remain are merely vessels within vessels, waiting to be fed upon. Let us not forget the space stations. Perhaps there's still some form of civilization left in these pockets. But when will a dormant awaken to become one of the Grimm? When will they be called to feast upon their souls? I pray that today is not the day where I am beckoned to become one of them. You're still alive, somehow managing to survive, and if you're one of the truly lucky, you've not been afflicted by the worms. Who are you? Are you ravaged by war, pieced together with remnants of bots and little flesh left of your body? A twisted biochemist shoving needles into your arms in hopes that this next fix will be the one that saves you and what's left of humanity? Or perhaps you are a survivor, like a cockroach, doing whatever necessary to stay alive, even if it means the rest of your legion must perish. It does not matter. They are close now. With so few souls left to feed upon, your days in this verse are limited. Will you choose to help anyone on your journey, or only save your own hide? Will you make it through the gate of infinite stars and escape to another universe? Or will you end up like so many before you, inhabited and controlled by the parasites that are the Vast Grimm? Oh, sounds cheerful. So now there's some more background stuff here. So we have the 6, the disciples of Fatuma set out on a pilgrimage to the mausoleum of They in the year 0. Okay, it was a prophecy that they would be unleashed upon the verse by a mission of the truly devout. Those who drew air with They would then from that day forward be one with They. Their breath would be the inhalations of They, and their exhalations would be known as the Grimm. The 6 then disbanded, sharing the breath of They to every corner of the verse. As missionaries, the preaching spread like a plague, inflecting those in their flock with the Grimm. So now this is the time of They. 663 years have passed since the mausoleum of They was unlocked by the 6. So the Grimm's reach has become vast. There are few societies left, as most planets and cultures have been completely and utterly decimated. It began with the numbers of Grimm slowly creeping higher as infections spread. It didn't take long for people to choose sides, pushing worlds into war against one another. Alliances were made between those who worshipped the 6 like gods, those who clung to ancient beliefs, and those who favored science above all. It didn't truly matter which side anyone was on. By then it was too late. They were everywhere. When the verse was a nothing, an absolute and sheer emptiness, 6 sparks flickered in the darkness. They were the first. They were all that was. They were creation. And as they were before, they are what will return us to nothingness. Each of the 6 disciples of Fatuma had a unique spark of they inside of them, causing different strains of the Grimm to fester within the verse. These deviant mutations became infamous among the living as worms. From the spark explode 6 festering coils, snake-like worms who, when together, are they. More time will pass than it can be counted, all while they are locked in isolation, awaiting their prophesied return. When they arise, we will share in the glory. Those of us dormant, unknown of our symbiotic ties to the great ones, will awaken becoming the Grimm. So it is written, so they shall be. Now we have a glimpse of the verse. So we still have Soul, our star, I suppose. We have the Belt of Despair, the Rings Eternal, Marauder's Cryosphere, Mausoleum of They, which is this object here, K2-1116b, Moons of the Dead, Proxima B and Charon, and the Helmuth. None of that sounds good, but it looks like waste barges of Kalar are here, but are headed on a sort of spiral way out of the system. So that's interesting. Okay, so the GM should determine where the Gate of Infinite Stars is located on a D8. Okay, basically, some people think that the scientists created a portal to escape from the dying universe, increasingly overtaken by they, and that this Gate of Infinite Stars will take you there. So before the game starts, the GM should pick where this gate lies. It could be on Proxima B, one of the moons of the dead. Could be on the Mausoleum of They itself. But that would be dangerous, obviously, because, you're going to be in the homeland of they. Could be in the Belt of Despair. So there are little pocket colonies found amongst the Belt of Despair, groups of belters basically, but there's one planetoid that's managed to fare better than the rest. Before the Grimm's reach began to consume the verse, Grunthar X16 was a port used by those who could not find trade with more reputable folk. The resourcefulness of these scoundrels has proved their salvation, keeping some of them alive to this day. Could be on the waste barges of Kalar. Burrowed deep in the mountains of unbreathable refuse, the shit King Saul has become a titan of trash. Excellent. King Saul's rat-like army of trash people has excavated nests hidden beneath the rubbish on each barge. They cunningly prey upon any who dare set foot in their territory. I guess that's the shit king. Or it could be in the Marauder's Cryosphere. It's a small ice planet, lacks any amount of gravity worth mentioning. Hundreds of man-made coves have been forged by unsavories as they excavated the planet's frozen exterior. So space raiders, another form of villainy, anchor their ships to the inhospitable surface. Okay, there are various havens where multiple ships connect by way of boarding bridges. So you'll never know what you're encountering with a haven. Try to keep in mind that you could lose more than a toe if you step out onto this rock. Could be in the Bitter Void. Unlike what its name may imply, the Bitter Void is anything but empty. Instead, it's littered with the Grimm, a waste station for those infected awaiting their next conquest. That sounds bad. Could be in the Rings Eternal. The last of the true legions have been deployed on the exoplanets forming the Rings Eternal. For 366 years, the worlds have been at war, first against each other, and then when members on both sides inevitably became infected, alongside each other in a last-ditch effort to defeat the Grimm. Could also be in the Helmuth, finally. Blacker than the blackest hole in the verse is the Helmuth. We've all heard the stories grumbled around waste stations of ships less than half an astrosec away from the Helmuth, getting viciously pulled into its stark emptiness. But now new rumors are hitting the data streams. Torrents are all over the network of clips showing ferocious demons soaring out from this dark hole. These infernal alienoids look hell-bent on destruction. By the way, you can see a nice silk bookmark here as well. Another nice feature of this printing. The ending, scrawled in the blood of Fatuma. So the end is always near, and as such, the game master rolls a die on the dawn of each day. When the resulting roll is a 1, a torment will occur. The die used will be selected by the GM and the group. When there's a torment, the GM must roll D66 to determine which one occurs. There should never be the same torment twice in the verse. When the time of the 7th torment is inflicted upon the first, they will have consumed all. The Gate of Infinite Stars will have been shattered, and humanity will be lost forever. So at that point, it's the end of the game. So like Mork Borg, you have a kind of ticking clock aspect to this. So every day, you will roll a die, the torment die, which you can choose as a group, depending on how long of a campaign you want it to be. If you get a 1, you get a torment, and there are loads of them. I'm not going to read them all out because, there's a whole load of them. And then once you get 7 torments, they have 1. Basically, you just have to give in and the game is over. So you want to try and find the Gate of Infinite Stars before that time clock ticks down and you reach 7 torments, because that will be the end of the universe as we know it. And there are loads of cool endings in here, which, well, presumably, I don't know. It seems pretty cool so far. So character creation, very simple. First, you select a class or randomly roll on a D8. Follow the class instructions for equipment, armor, and weapons. Roll for abilities. Roll for hit points. Roll personality traits, randomly acquire starting equipment, spend some credits, give your character a name, though it will be quickly forgotten once infected by the Grimm. Great. And here we have our different classes. So you got the Machine. You don't truly belong anywhere except in battle with your legion. Enhanced for war, your humanity has melded with the sharp, cold machinery forged to your flesh, even if your mind was not. Like all machined, the sharp, ravaging steel claws of your grafted metal hand have saved your ass while in the trenches. You gain a claw attack, DR10 to attack, D6 damage, 1 to 3 on D8 chance the enemy gets a free attack. Okay, there's a bit of a balancing act there. Begins with 2d6 times 10 credits and D2 favors. Your HP is going to be your toughness plus roll on a D10. Then everything is rolled randomly in this game, so you roll for your earliest memories on a D6. Your abilities, you have 3d6 plus 2 strength, 3d6 minus 2 agility and presence, and then roll d4 on the armor table. And you begin with one of the following skills. Again, rolling on d6. Could be light-handed. Ultraviolet light blast from your robotic fingertips, sterilizing any festering rot. Heals d6 damage and has 40% chance of staving off parasitic infection. Okay, but there's a 20% chance of going to be damaged in combat. You could have bot eyes, so you had your eyes gouged out and have x-ray specs. You can see in utter darkness and have a 65% chance of viewing heat signatures through walls and structures. Ship for brains means your internal hard drive has files on every possible spacefaring ship. It takes you D4 rounds to patch the software for any ship you have not flown, but after that, you get +4 presence tests for piloting. Wow. Taser face. Your face was horrifically mauled in battle. One of your eyes has been replaced and now sports a taser shooting eye patch. DR10, 2d4 damage. Misfiring whenever doubles are rolled on damage. Oh, cool. You could also have a rusty pincer, potentially. It has DR10 attack and defense while using it. D6 damage. 1 in 6 chance the claw will close completely on impact, causing an additional D4 of bone-breaking damage. And you can use that in addition to your default claw attack, but when using both, you get -4 to subsequent defense tests. Finally, you could roll up a Cyber Kitty, a feral tomcat. What flesh remains alive on this beast is mangy and covered in neon fleas. Though barely alive, it's always alert even when sleeping with a +2 presence. Attacks with DR10, metal claws D4, defends with DR10. Alright. Then we have the Soul Survivor. Begins with 1d6 times 10 credits and D2 favors. HP is toughness plus D6, so less tough than the machined. Wherever you go, a dark cloud looms over your filthy, bug-infested head. You drag it along with you like a dead dog on a leash, darkening those you keep company with. But what can be done? The shadows are where you thrive. When all is bleak, you will profit, or at least be the last to die. So you roll for your traumatic loneliness on a D6. Your abilities, you're scrawny, so you have 3d6 minus 2 strength. Cockroach. All presence and toughness tests have their DR reduced by 2. Roll D6 on the weapon table and D2 on the armor table. Okay. And then you have one of these skills. You could be an energy vampire. That's cool. Low expectations. Your first attack is always a surprise with a DR10. Last to die. You're weak and puny. You'll always be the last to be attacked, even if you're worth their time. Okay. Get anywhere, anything. Okay. You can pick locks and pockets with an agility difficulty 8. You have an antique set of lockpicks and a decrypted keycard. You have an inevitable escape ability and shrunken stomach. So you're adjusted to being malnourished. Wow. So you starve slower than other people. Useful in this universe. Oh, and I didn't notice this before, but look at the, there's some cool stuff written on this silk bookmark. I hope you can see that. Some alien looking gibberish and some cool symbols down there at the bottom. The other side is blank. The Lost Technomaniac begins with 1d6 times 10 credits and D4 favors. That's a lot of favors. HP toughness plus D4. So abilities, this one has visionary 3d6 plus 2 presence, but they're frail with 3d6 minus 2 strength. When starting equipment, so do not roll in the second D12 chart. Instead, start with 2 random tributes. 1 hacked, 1 encrypted. Roll a D4 on the weapons table and a D2 on the armors table. So then you roll for your arcane beginnings, which can include things like awoke on Proxima B as you vomited up a large living slug-like creature. Great. Skills with the Z, roll D6. You have a profound understanding of tributes. You can randomly download D2 additional tributes off the network per day. You can communicate with starships using mainframe master. You have a cybernetic winged rat with D4 HP. See through its eyes and hear through its ears. You got a silencer, okay. You got a console, so you can look for info on the network. And those who wander are never truly lost, so deep in your gut you know which way to go and we'll find it. So roll presence against only difficulty 8 and you'll be able to find your way to true north. That's useful. Got Twisted Biochemist. Begins with D6 times 10 credits and D2 favors. HP toughness plus D6. I think it's tributes that are like magic and favors are more like hero points, I think. Okay, we'll get to that. So, the Twisted Biochemist is addicted to science. They became infected with the parasite while trying to find a means to defeat it. The knowledge of your impending disgusting transformation and death has given you a unique view of life. Do you use your skills to help humanity or fall bleakly into a stinking abyss of self-pity? If it was me, it would probably be the latter. to be honest. Okay, so you roll your background about being addicted to science. Then you have educated, 3d6 plus 2 presence, but you're a puny scholar, so your strength is 3d6 minus 2. You have an inner fortitude, 3d6 plus 1 toughness. And instead of rolling on the weapons table, you start with an inoculation dart gun, which holds 8 doses, and you roll d2 on the armor table. You've spent your youth and now likely your life looking for the keys to neutralize the Grimm. You ain't found shit, but you keep trying. You receive 2 random d8 creations per day as you tinker with a total of d4 doses. So you get 2 creations per day, and then at the end, your sketchy laboratory database deletes the file, so you roll again the next day. So you can have a nanite dance party, or a toughness DR12 test, or shake and soil yourself uncontrollably for d6 rounds. Fog of Pleasure, okay, you can regain HP or sink into a mental fantasy world. Hope Springs Eternal, Ass Blastin', farting uncontrollably, which causes creatures in a 5-foot radius to become sickened. Nanites, invading your body, healing infections and radiation poisoning, that's cool. Synthetic Spinal Fluid, a full day of plus 2 presence. You can get Gin Juice, plus 1 toughness, plus 1 strength, minus 2 presence agility, or you can Wake the Dead. So 1 on a d6 causes the nanites to dissolve the corpse. 5 to 6 reverses the death condition to broken. Revived creature or player rolls again for broken. This can be administered to an individual once. If it doesn't take the first time, it never will. Wow, so that's your healer class. Got the Treacherous Merc. You're a total bastard. You generally think only of yourself or anyone that stands against you that deserves what they get. A punch in the mouth or a blast at the chest. Money talks, bullshit walks are tattooed on your black heart. You understand space travel and can probably pilot a ship out of this hellhole. So you get 1d6 times 10 credits and d4 favors. Your HP is toughness plus d8. Tough as nails, 3d6 plus 6 plus 2 toughness. Blunderer, 3d6 minus 1 agility. Roll a d10 on the weapons table and a d4 on the armor table. And plus 2 presence for piloting. Then you roll your Unpredictable Soldier background. You get skills like Stolen Valor. Enemies failing a presence, DR10 test, always lose initiative. Okay. You have a mechanically enhanced cigar. Once per day can be flicked at an enemy. If the attack test succeeds, the enemy is blinded for d4 rounds. Quick Draw McGraw. Okay, roll twice on attack and d6 damage to fire 2 small energy pistols. Only good for 1 attack per combat, and you always go first in your legion for initiative. Dirty Player, gain plus 2 on attack rolls where you can attack your opponent's less defended areas. Gain plus 3 if you can prove that it will be truly underhanded attack to the GM. Got a Knuckle Duster, d4 damage when fighting barehanded. Or you can go Berserk 2 times per day, gain double attacks at plus 3 for 2 rounds, defend at minus 2 for those rounds. Afterwards, you're exhausted and must take a long rest. Oh, cool. Then we have an Emo Bot. Love this. You can really feel all the feels. You might even have a soul if the Grimm don't remove any need for one. Your mechanical mind and body are immune to infection and infestation, but infection isn't the only way to check out in this verse. You hate the Grimm. It breaks your mechanical heart to watch them take away all the people that shape your feels. They must go. You use your spirit knowledge of technology in a bid to create hope for the future, or just a path to get out of this weeping sore of a shithole system. So then you roll your sentient bot background. You begin with no credits, but d4 favors. HP toughness plus d8, so I guess being a robot makes you a little bit tougher than the normal person's. And then you can start with steel skin, so you can get level 3 armor with no agility penalties. That's pretty awesome. Your eye can be a surveillance camera. You can get magnets on your appendages 2 times per day. You have a self-destruct mechanism. You can interface with almost any computer as long as it has power. And you can even access highly encrypted files if you can pass a very difficult test. Or a speed dealer. You can produce injectable nanotech healing cartridges so they lose effectiveness after 24 hours. Then we got Devout. You have more than blind faith. You are truly devout. Disciple of Fatima. You have studied the scriptures and traveled to the mausoleum of Day, letting your blood spill onto the altar of convergence. Though many around you fear the Grimm, you are doing all that you can to usher in the reign of Day. You begin with 1d4 times 10 credits and d4 favors, HP toughness plus d4, so fairly weak. But you have a faithful, so plus 1 to your presence, minus 1 to your strength roll for being weak. Starting equipment, do not roll on the second d12 chart. Instead, start with 2 random worms in cryo freeze. Yikes. Roll a d4 on the weapons table and a d2 on the armor table. Then you got your random background and your random skills. So you might have a page torn from the ancient text. If you read from it, any Grimm within hearing will do your bidding for d4 rounds before dying. Wow. You wield one of the 6's Rotten Humorous. Okay, along with d4 damage, there's a 1 in 8 chance those hit will be infected with a worm. You got Mausoleum Dirt, which wisps its way to any hidden cracks, help you find secret doors. That's cool. Altered Armor, you have a bodysuit made of woven gut worm silk to wear under your clothes. Gain an additional minus 2 damage reduction. Okay, you have a symbol of They. When you present it to the Grimm, their morale doubles for d6 rounds. And you got a tooth of the worm around your neck. When you kiss it before battle, there's a 1 in 6 chance you automatically hit on your first attack and inflict double damage. Wow. And then finally, I think we have the Harvester. You've always loved getting dirty and digging around in other people's filth. Those who have sided with the Grimm offer a handsome bounty for those willing to harvest worms from the bodies of the fallen. You've made a decent living for a number of years doing just that, and you're damn good at it. So you're lean, get -1 to your strength roll, resourceful, +2 to your presence. For starting equipment, don't roll on the D12 charts. Instead, start with 1 random tribute and 1 random worm and cryo freeze. Roll a D4 on the weapons table and a D2 on the armor table. You get 1d4 times 10 credits and D2 favors. HP is toughness plus D6. Then you get your bottom feeder background and your skills. So you gain +2 when simply scanning space and +4 when actively searching for valuables. Wow. So you can re-roll if the Grimm try to infect you. That's pretty cool. Or you could have some extraction tools. So you gain +2 whenever trying to use these instruments in a surgical situation, i.e. to remove or retrieve a worm. You have a pet worm. So roll a D6 on page 67 to determine the type of worm it is. Attacked with DR12, bite D6. GP 1 to 2 on D6 for each successful attack. It is the size of a plump chihuahua. Defends at defense rating 14, 8 HP. That's one thing to note about this game actually is, like Mork Borg, it is completely player facing in the dice rolls. The GM never rolls any dice. So instead of you rolling to attack as an enemy monster, the players roll defense instead. So you can see that here in the creature listing. It has a DR12 for its attack and a DR14 for its defense. So there's no room for the GM to roll in there. Number 5, bile vials. You can extract bile from worms. You start with 2d12 vials that can be thrown for d6 damage or coat a weapon or bullet to gain additional d4 damage. You can replenish them, d2 vials, with an agility test if you have a live or recently deceased worm. Or you could have collected the molted sacks of 100 worms as they grew. And then this naturally sticky net is perfect for trapping your prey. When thrown up to 30 feet, capture any creature in a 10-foot area where it lands. Presence DR12 test. Right, so that's all the classes. So here's how you roll up your abilities. You have agility, which is when you want to defend, balance on something, float, swim, or flee. Presence, when you want to perceive, aim, charm, use tech, pilot something, or wield neuromancy. Strength for crushing, lifting, striking, grappling. Toughness to resist things like poison, cold, heat, falling, etc. So you roll 3d6 and with any modifier specified by your class, and then you refer to this chart and you only ever just write down these abilities. So it's as it says, after rolling your 3d6, forget that number ever existed. You won't use it again. So the conversion chart here is more generous than like the really old school versions of D&D, where the distribution was pretty flat. Like you wouldn't get a +2 until you had an 18 or something. Here is more generous, but you need it because the game is really harsh, basically. Mid points. At 0 HP, you are broken and you roll a d4. You can fall unconscious, awaken with d4 HP. If you roll a 2, you roll a d6, and then if on 1 to 5 you've lost a limb, reduce agility permanently by 1. On a 6, lose an eye and reduce presence permanently by 1, and can't act for d4 rounds, then become active with d4 HP. On a 3, you get a hemorrhage, so unless you're treated, death will occur in d2 hours. Increase all tests by 4 the first hour and 6 the last hour. On a 4, roll again. On a 1 to 2, loss of eye, reduce presence permanently by 1. 3 to 4, you are very dead. At negative HP, you are super dead. Okay. You can have a misspent youth, roll twice. Rebellious, merciless, apathetic, narcissistic, tricky, etc. Battle scars, roll once, and it has a slash here, so the first option will be if you are flesh, and the second option will be if you are bot. So let's pick an example. 13, lucky 13. If you're flesh, you've got a sloshy brain. If you're a bot, you've got crossed wiring. So much damage you see even half drunk all the time. 14, seeping wound, constant slow stream of pus, or if you're a bot, oil leaks from your belly. Wow, super gross. Lots of pus and gross things. Irritating idiosyncrasies, d20, roll once. Again, we have flesh/bot. You might never back down. You love being a snot rocketeer. Constantly blocking one nostril and blowing snot/sparks out of the other. Believe all insects to be worms and will smush any you see. You love farting and it makes you laugh all the time, and you do it as much as possible. You're full of shit and exaggerate everything you say. You could be a Stardust junkie, germaphobe, bald patches, all kinds of stuff. And here we have our starting equipment table. So you have a special item, D6. On a 1, you get a lint ball that smells of the elderly. A coin from a now fallen society, fanny pack, space pack, rolling footlocker, or hover plate, which will carry 18 normal sized items but sometimes wanders off. Then you roll your 2d12, so you notice that some of the class descriptions say, don't roll on these tables or only roll on the first one. So you have stuff here like laser torches, headlamps, glass cutters, synth rope, med kits, mini boombox, one hacked tribute, mummified worm on a necklace, lysergic poison for hallucinogenic purposes. On the second table, we've got stuff like a postcard collection of vacation planets, none of which you visited and most of which no longer exist. 22 days of freeze-dried rations, that's useful. Laser knife, fresh strawberries, random encrypted tribute, glow-in-the-dark hammer, violent roid rat only listens to your whistle and consumes a day's rations, d4 plus 4 HP, bite d4, well-used tambourine, Folded a picture of one of your Legion's siblings. Oh, that's creepy. Then we have some weapons. All right, we've got a Bouncer's Club, and it's got some credit costs here as well. Ratchet Wrench. Military Dagger with Sheath. Sharp Throwing Bones, with presence plus 10 bones / stars. Gummy Stick, which is a Rubber Legionnaire baton. Breaks a bone on a crit. Wow. Double-sided Bang Stick. Shotgun in the front, dagger in the back. Holds 1 shell. Must reload. Got a blaster D4, 4 charges per use. Semi-automatic pistol. Fires 2 bullets at a single target. D6 plus 2 per bullet per round. Start with 18 rounds, and was hard to come by. 2 rounds cost 1 credit each. You have a pulse rifle, D8 damage, 6 charges per use, 20 credits. Energy sword, D10, 4 charges per strike. Then you have your armor, so you've got 3 tiers of armor. So a lot of classes you would just roll D2 on the armor table, if you noticed. So you end up with either no armor or tier 1, which just has a minus D2 damage reduction. So when somebody hits you, they roll their damage, and then you can reduce the damage by D2. Tier 2, you get stuff like police grade carbon fiber bodyguard with sewn in carbon fiber. You get D4 damage off whatever attacks hit, but you also take minus 2 on agility and defense tests. Tier 3, you get a military grade mecha enhanced armored suit. So you take D6 off of damage, but you get minus 4 in agility and minus 2 in defense tests. You can also add a riot helmet, additional minus 1 damage, or ignore all damage and the helmet is destroyed. Cannot be worn with mecha armor. Interesting. Encumbrance. You can carry a total of strength plus 8 normal-sized items without an issue. Past that point, agility or strength tests increase the DR by 2. It's possible to carry 2 times strength plus 8. Normal-sized items are things like ratchets, techno tablets, whatever. Larger than normal-sized items include corpses, a memory of legion, dret packs, and storage lockers. And then we have credits and things you can buy. So lots of stuff. Pregnancy test, whiskey flask, shaving kit, mylar blankets, book of herbology, nanite healing kit, paper journal with fancy pen, isotope poison, Geiger counter, portable handheld tracker. Oh, that's useful. Lightweight synth rope, flashlight, disguise kit. There's lots of weird stuff in here. Okay, favors. Every class gains a number of favors. Once favors have been used up, they can be regained after resting for a minimum of 6 hours. Roll the class's designated die each time favors are replenished. So you can use a favor to deal maximum damage with one attack. Reroll a dice roll, yours or somebody else's. Lower damage dealt to you by D6, neutralize a crit or fumble, or lower one's test DR by minus 4. Optional, if your players have a soft spot in their hearts for their characters and fear their inevitable death, give each PC an additional favor. Also allow PCs to share their daily favors with other PCs in times of crisis. Perhaps then your campaign will be a little less brutal, but really, why would you want that? I have to agree. So yeah, favors are like fate points or hero points or whatever in many other systems. Neuromancy, here we go. Long before the concept of time could be calculated and conceived, there exists neuromantic energy floating through the cosmos. Neuromancy was harnessed to imprison they inside the mausoleum. Some of this has been contained and transferred onto data chips, becoming known throughout the verse as tributes. So this is your kind of magic, technological magic. You roll presence plus D4 at the end of each day to determine the number of times you can use neuromancy that day. So that's your neuromancy points. And those can be used to activate tributes. When using a holographic tribute, roll a presence DR12 test. If successful, the power is activated. If the test is a failure, lose 2 HP and become disoriented and dizzy for the next hour. If the PC attempts to use another tribute during this time, it will fail in the most horrific way possible or cause a cataclysmic condemnation. When using a tribute, reduce the number of NP available that day by 1, no matter whether it succeeds or fails. The effects of a tribute are unknown until they are used. Because of this, tributes can be found on page 64. In the event of a crit or fumble when using a tribute, consult the optional table Cataclysmic Condemnations on page 82. Self-improvement. Oh, that's good. When a character improves, this is what happens. Roll 6d10. If the result is equal to or greater than your current maximum HP, increases by d6. Oh, that's nice. Ability changes. Roll a d6 against each ability. If your roll is equal to or greater than the ability, it increases by 1 to a maximum of plus 6. If you roll below the ability, decrease it by 1. Abilities from minus 3 to 0 increase by 1 unless the d6 roll is 1. If the roll is 1, reduce the ability by 1, but never below minus 3. Optional rule, if you've not spent all your favors the day you advance, you can use the favor to reroll. That's quite nice. Combat. Okay, so we kind of covered that, but basically roll d6, 1 to 3 enemies goes first, 4 to 6 your legion goes first. Determine which legionnaire goes first, agility plus 6. Creatures and enemies don't roll dice in combat, so it's player facing. Tests are made against a difficulty rating, so you roll d20 plus your ability with the result equal to or greater than the DR. For example, to find the cause of radiation leak on a ship, DR 14, or not vomit from the instant loss of gravity, DR 12. Creatures don't use abilities, they just roll d20 against DR. So they give you sample difficulty ratings, so 6 is really simple, 12 12 is normal, 14 is difficult, 18 is probably not possible, but you can try. Typical melee test is strength DR12. A ranged test is presence DR12. Laser blaster fire shoots in a straight line until it hits a target. Beyond 100 feet, you have higher DRs, up to 301 plus feet, which is DR18. Defense test is agility DR12. If you fail, the enemy's hit. Enemies attack once per round unless noted otherwise. In combat, if you roll a crit, you get double damage, and the enemy's armor is reduced by 1 tier. If you roll a crit on defense, you get a free attack, a counterattack. If you roll a 1, a fumble, you drop the weapon, it malfunctions, is damaged, or is lost completely. If you roll a fumble on defense, you take double damage, and armor is reduced 1 tier. When armor is damaged, penalties to strength and agility test are not modified. Interesting. Armor reduced below first tier is ruined. How long is a round? A round is enough time for all combatants to draw a weapon, move, and attack, use a tribute, etc. Swapping batteries counts as an attack. There are 10 rounds in 1 minute. Okay. Then we've got pharmaceuticals. Cool. Life in the verse these days is depressing, dangerous, and disgusting. So people like drugs is the message here. So you can get berserker stims, crash pads. So they double up healing in short rest situations. 1 in 20 chance you just don't wake up. Oh god. Wow. Okay, lots of interesting stuff here. Rocket stick. The user rubs these into their gums. You increase agility by 1 for D4 rounds. 1 in 10 sticks is a sick stick and will cause the user to vomit uncontrollably for 2 rounds. Roll 1 to 5 on a D20 and you're addicted. So these all have an addiction roll. Well, not all of them. Crash pads and berserker stims don't addict. Astral reds, nerve jammers do. Nerve jammers, so you take half damage effectively, but then you need twice the usual amount of rest to recover it. Lotus drops. Okay, these give a glimpse into the future, 5 to 10 seconds ahead. After 2 uses, you have to roll against addiction. Addiction brings a low to sleep. You refuse to move and instead only ingest the drop and stay in the dream state. Addiction 1 to 12. Holy moly. Yellow jackets. So super powerful antihistamines. All toughness tests for poison, infection, infestation, including worms, are reduced by 2 for 1 day per pill. Pills and bonuses cannot be stacked. They're non-addictive and highly sought after. Okay. Finally, you got Stardust. So it can be ingested, snorted, or smoked. And plus 1 to strength and toughness. Subtract 1 from presence for D6 hours. 2 in 6 chance of doses of dust bust, causing -1 to all abilities. Lasts for 6 hours. Addiction 1 to 8. If you get addicted, you have to continue to take the product at least 1 time per day or suffer from withdrawal. That causes natural healing from rest to cease until a new dose is used. Wow. Alright, hack tributes. So these are tributes that have been hacked, causing them to perform in ways they were not originally intended. So we'll pick a couple of examples. Okay, you've been spaced. 1 random creature within 30 feet of the tribute has the air around it sucked away for D6 rounds, losing D4 damage each round. Cool. Dormant no more. Any of the Grimm currently dormant within 100-foot radius will activate when the tribute is used. Wow. Eternal darkness. All creatures within 45 feet lose 2d6 HP. I mean, these are pretty powerful. Grim groupie summons D4 of the Grimm. 0 gravity. You can cause gravity to cease to function for D10 rounds in a pretty big space. Encrypted tributes. So clean and clear as the day they were encoded. You can get D12 HP restored. You can expel a worm from a creature of your choice. Oh, that's cool. A creature of your choice increases their strength by 2 until they sleep it off. 1 creature deceased for no more than 3 days is brought back to life, but their presence is reduced -2. You can command the Grimm. You can extinguish light in a 60-foot radius for D8 rounds. D6 creatures suffer -4 morale. Electric axe. Beamed up. D2 creatures dematerialize and are teleported to a random D8 location. So yeah, there's not many tributes, but they are really cool, really powerful. So now, becoming the Grimm. So GP, Grimm Parasite. Unless otherwise noted, roll D6 when in close contact with the Grimm. If it's a 1 to 2, you've been infected. If you suffer damage resulting in an open wound, your chances double. So you roll 2d6. If either fail, it means you've been infected with a worm. So once you've been chosen, you roll a d6 to determine which of the gods has gifted you with this honor. You get Carnicius, which is a flesh worm, the Cruor, which is a blood worm, Nurok, which is a brain worm, Remethus is a heart worm, the Rot is a gut worm, and Turgus is a spinal worm. Very few have ever lived through hosting all 6 types of worms. They're known as the Unscathed. They are ferociously and relentlessly hunted down by the Grimm for use in nasty occult rituals and embarrassing medical experiments. First day of infection, roll on that god's parasitic pains, and you get an ailment for the day. On each subsequent day, make a toughness DR16 test. If you fail, re-roll for a different parasitic pain. You'll never have the same ailment twice. Roll a pain you've already endured, then you roll again. If you succeed the toughness test, you and the worm are working in harmony, and you roll on parasitic pleasures. If during your parasitic pains you are required to concede your character to the GM, your PC is now considered the Grimm and roll up a new character. You probably should have already done this. Okay, so carnivorous worms. They've got parasitic pains, so it could do things like, if you roll a 1, you're just dead. The worm's in control. Give character to the GM. Skin crawler, reduce all your presence test by -1. The worm has gotten so large, it's now taking the form of a second smaller head popping out of your neck. It does not talk, but it will shriek when in the presence of anything infected by the Grimm. Okay, I guess that's useful. Reduce your strength by 2. Skin flaps. Parasitic pleasures. Okay, you can get accelerated healing. You can get increasing toughness, thick skin, natural tier 2 armor, not reducible from critical hits. Wow. Skin and bones. You lack the sustenance needed by the creature crawling under your skin. In the middle of the night, it gnaws a hole in your belly button and slithers away, and your belly button is now lint-free. Well, that's nice to know. Cruor the Bloodworm. Parasitic pains. Yeah, so basically rolling a 1 typically means you give your character to the GM straight away. So don't get infected would be my advice. But it is cool that there's like all these different things that can happen to you, either bad or good, depending on whether you pass the admittedly tough DR16 test every day. Okay, so you might end up with the cold sweats, feverish delusions, blood spewing out of your body like a geyser. Anyone within 5 feet of you has a 50% chance of becoming infected with the Cruor. Wow. Or on a 6, it could mutate into a different type of worm. Wow. Parasitic pleasures. Okay, the Grimm can sense it, the worm, and will not attack you unless you attack them first, and you know this. You get the Blood Rage. Once per combat, roll D8. 1 to 4, deal maximum damage. 5 to 8, deal double maximum damage. Bloodborne, you have a 50% chance of picking up the scent of others infected by the Grimm, whether they know they're infected or not. Iron deficient, your blood can no longer support the worm that has made its home in your arteries. It leaves your body in an explosion of bloody vomit lasting no less than 18 minutes. For all watching, it is quite a glorious and gory spectacle. The Nurok. This is a brainworm, yep. Parasitic pains, yep. Roll 1, you're dead. 2, defend agility tests, aim presence tests, and strike strength tests are at -4. Presence test -2, and you're paranoid. You be forgetful, you might get a different calling, and you mutate into a different type of worm, or you're going to get scrambled circuits. Change your abilities. Agility becomes presence becomes strength becomes toughness, toughness becomes agility. Wow. Pleasures, though, if there are any of the Grimm within half an astrosec, you can go into a trance-like state for 2 rounds. You then see through their eyes, we can do nothing else while on your hideous vision quest. Okay. No new ailments if you roll a 2. You can be hyper-focused and get +3 presence. Neurotic no more, so then the worm leaves from your left nostril. It took 5 minutes to extract it from your face, each tug giving your brain a cringe-worthy scrape as the worm was drug across it. Don't eat it. Prometheus Heartworm. Okay, so roll a 1, you're dead. You can get a bloodbath, additional damage from blood loss when you take damage, and a chance of infecting people with your tainted secretions. You can be a sweaty mess, and it's harder to hide or be stealthy due to your overwhelming stench. Okay, you can have a minor stroke. You're no longer fully in control of one side of your body, reducing your agility and strength for D6 days. Okay, your presence can be reduced by 2, or you can only inhale 1/4 of the oxygen you need. So you can only attack every other round, and everything takes you twice as long as normal. But the pleasures, what are the pleasures? You can move at the speed of your heart, gain +1 to ability tests, -1 to presence though. You can get all strength-based tests with +2, and you gain double HP when resting. You can hawk up a mucousy mix of blood and saliva to lob at another creature's eye. This tainted mixture burns for D4 damage and causes -2 presence for D2 rounds. Or you can get chest pains, and the worm bursts through your skin and crawl away covered in your blood. You take D2 damage, but the beast is gone. Nice. Then we have the Rot, the gut worm. Yeah, roll 1, you're dead. You can have trash pants. Just continuous flatulence, so you can't be sneaky very easily. Your DR increased by 4. Scared shitless. Every time you enter into a stressful situation, roll toughness DR14 to avoid soiling your pants. If you have a load in your britches, agility tests are at -1. All combat tests are at -2 as vomit projects from your face holes. You get a stress-induced ulcer, or the worm could change form. Parasitic pleasures. You've expelled every possible bit you could from yourself last night. You have no new ailments. Your stench is your own and you're happy to writhe in it. Your noxious fumes disgust those you come into contact with, reducing the morale by 4. Vile projectile. D2 damage, 1 in 4 chance it will cause a -2 to presence of those hit for D6 rounds. Alright. Flatulent free. Okay, so in the middle of the night you awake to an unfathomable pain as an enormous worm fought its way out of your rectum. After this horrific expulsion, the parasite lay dead where it was shat out. Awesome. Then we have the Turgus, the spinal worm. Yikes. You roll 1, you're dead. You can have a seizure. If you roll a D12 before any action. If it's a 1, lose your round to a seizure. Okay. You have sciatica erratica. Agility is reduced by 2 or strength is reduced by 2. You choose. The worm has decided to dissolve the soft tissue between your vertebrae. -2 to presence tests, you can't concentrate on anything but the pain. Crooked spine. You're bent and almost broken. Reduce your carrying capacity by 4. Or you get signals crossed. Your muscles and limbs are not reacting like they should, causing a lack of coordination and -2 to agility. But the pleasures. You can be protein powered. Double the HP you receive from any tests. Wicked rest. No more pain for today. Got your back. Defense test at DR10 instead of DR12. Okay. Drained, so you felt something rupture in your back. Now the weakness and back pain that you felt since becoming infected has come to an end. The Grim gripped your spine, but at least for now, yoga is a possibility again. I love the dark humor in this game. Optional, D20 Doomed Legions. Okay, your legion may have, optionally, a history that you roll up on D20. Gives you a bit of a reputation and miserable history. Oh, Cataclysm and Condemnation. So this is a D20. You can roll for things that go horribly wrong when you fumble on a tribute. A PC who rolls the same result more than once on this chart watches helplessly as their tribute collapses, creating a micro black hole. Anything within the 10-foot radius, toughness DR14 test, gets sucked in. The more it consumes, the bigger it gets. Oh my god. Right, we'll pick a couple of examples. The tribute works, but in the exact reverse. Okay. You are now obsessed with finding and destroying the gate of infinite stars. You decide it's best not to let anyone else know this. Planet shakes and the Grim are on alert. One torment comes to pass. Oh boy. You fall helplessly in lust with the next creature that engages you. Could be in your party, could be a stranger, could be a monster, a robot, or even a worm. Great. Your morning void is now always a powerful acid. Take D2 damage each day when you wake and piss. Trying to hold your piss increases the damage by 1 every 2 hours. After 6 hours, you must go. Oh my god. Buttons must be pushed. Whenever you see a button, you have to push it no matter where it is or what it does. Push, push, push. Oh boy, this game. Alright, random ships. Okay, so there's 6 types of ships, but we'll leave that because that's explored in the other book there. Ships for another day. You can have a star schooner, corporate fat pants, and political dignitaries. They have 2 rail guns, tier 6 armor, 2 escape pods, 24,000 credits, DR14 for piloting. Or the war frigate. Get yourself a friggin' war frigate. Too bad this one has no ammo. Built for battle with tier 8 armor, 99 HP, 2 360-degree railguns, 4 ion torpedo cannons, and a space to store an arsenal of nukes. Big and slow AF. 0.5 astrosec per day, 42,000 credits. Presence DR16 for piloting. Okay. Oh, and by the way, every day there's a 1 in 4 chance that your ship will break down. Most ships travel 1 astrosec in a day's time and can make it from one end of the system to the other in about 10 days. Okay. Earth animal mutations. Okay. Earth animals can get things like steel teeth, psychic powers, skeletonized laser eyes, enhanced intelligence, extra body parts. They could split like slimes in D&D. They could have stank breath, fire breath, bile breath, or spore cloud breath weapons. So now we're into the bestiary, basically. We've got astro zombies. Fantastic picture here. So these hungry, unliving shells are no more the Grim than you or I. They will do their best to gnaw at you with their teeth, claw at you with their hands, and then feast on your brains. The HP 11, morale 12, spacesuit tier 2 minus D4 damage, biter claw D4 damage. Astro zombies are never carriers of the Grim. Okay, they're pretty tough though. Big worm, oh my god, it's huge. Far larger than any worm that could crawl around inside your puny body. This thing has done its share of eating. Its 6 eyes look hungry as neon green saliva pools in its teeth-filled maw. HP 44, morale 10, exoskeleton tier 1, tons of teeth, D10 damage. Special larvae spew. When it bites, a mouthful of small worm larvae spew from its mouth. So you can get a infection chance 1 to 3 on D6. That's not good. So those larvae will get you. We got the syphilite. Syphilite? Bionically infused cephalopods. Alright, so death octopi. HP 55, morale 8, tentacle lash, D10 attacks separately for all 8 tentacles. Wow. Beak bite D12, special crushing hug. Toughness DR14 test if hit by more than 3 tentacles for D10 additional damage. Only lives in space, not suitable for a planetary lifestyle. So you're going to fight this with your ship, I guess. But the Grim, look how horrible they are. It's a scary looking dude. They will inhabit any living vessel they can. You may find yourself up against someone from your old legion or a mutated polar bear. Their eyes turn luminescent blue with veins of electric pink. They have HP 8, morale 12 with no leaders. Spacesuit tier 1, minus D2 damage. Punch D2 and a blaster pistol. D6 with 10 charges. Special can send out a silent beacon to other Grim within 5 miles. It'll infect you 1 to 2 on a D6. Any non-human creature could be aware of the Grim. Once infected, increase their existing HP times 2. Retain any natural traits. See special and GP above. Wow, okay. A rage bot. Synthetic beast. Previously servant bots, military bots, or laborer bots. They developed into sentient beings almost, but something went wrong. Now they thirst for bloody and total revenge. We've got different types. A personal servant bot, HP 4, morale 4, armor 0, limb flail with D2 damage. Special, at 0 HP, a raging PSB will begin screaming the secrets of his previous owners and employers, and then it stops functioning after 2 rounds. Labor bots are tougher, HP 12, morale 6, minus D4 damage from their exo armor. They can smash with a hammer for D6 or pincer crush for D8, and they often appear in groups of D3 bots. Then we have military warbots, HP 20, morale 12, plasteel armor over plasteel frame, tier 3 armor, D8 damage for blasters times 2 targets, and do a minor EMP, temporarily disabling any device with a battery for D8 rounds. Parasite Spur. Small, tenacious creatures that carry and spread the parasite by clinging to clothing, fur, and other porous surfaces. When attempting to remove them, roll a presence DR8 for each spur. It releases a 5-foot diameter cloud of spores. Agility DR12 to dodge the spores. Failure equals roll versus infection. Oh god. They're silent and often blended with the environment. Legionnaires may pick them up unwittingly and carry them around for days before they explode on their own. They're very susceptible to fire, which destroys them utterly. Usually they come in numbered D6. HP 0.5. Morale not applicable. Immobile DR4 defense. Special parasite pore cloud. GP 1 on D6. Alright. So you can just pick up the parasite in so many ways. Salazarite, HP 27, morale 11, exoskeleton tier 1, mandible crush, D6, 1 in 8 chance broken bone for additional D4 damage. Special psionic scream calls all nearby Salazarites to swarm. GP 1 on D12. Okay. They're known to attach themselves to the hull of starships. As they leave the atmosphere, their bodies freeze. The insectoids later thaw, coming back alive when returning to a warmer environment. Yikes. We have the sludge. Feeds on electricity, lasers, and other pulse-infused charges. And what do we got? HP 18, morale 8, suffocate D4, and has a special of absorption. Any blaster or pulse weapon restores the HP instead of damaging it. And consumption. If it lands on a weapon or electronic device, there is a 60% chance it will no longer function. Then we've got Void Revenants. Merciless undead. They're what's left of the bodies and souls of creatures murdered by being vented out of airlocks. Oh boy. They're clever concealers and will often choose to hide in a crew member's quarters to attack them stealthily as they sleep. Presence DR12 to wake up and notice the Revenant. They also try to take control of the ship, try to use any weapons and stuff that they find. So they've got HP 15, no morale score because they're undead. Spacesuit tier 1, synth garrote, D4 plus strangulation. So strength DR14 or take D4 damage per round. Void Revenants are clever concealers and prefer to attack initially through stealth and strangulation. Then we've got a Warhound. Look at this guy. Way too many eyeballs on this thing. Savage, flesh-ripping, bone-shattering beasts. Disease-ridden maw. HP 30, morale 10, thick hide 2, which is minus D4 damage. Bite for D6 damage. Bites infect you with berserker madness disease. Toughness DR13 to avoid D4 rounds of berserk madness, causing uncontrollable attacks against anyone or anything within reach. And they have GP 1 on D8. Quick rules. Okay, so you can find a random character creator at vastgrim.com. Don't get too attached. It's easy to die and even easier to become one of the Grim. After you play once or twice, then roll up your own characters. So this is basically a summary of the rules. And then we have an introductory adventure, which is called Death Aboard the Conundrum. I'll just flip through so you can see the visuals. It's still got that style, but like the map, for example, is really readable and easily labeled. You know, all the rooms have nice little descriptions, what they're attached to, you know, what's in there, what can happen. So yeah, it looks like a nice little dungeon crawl to start people on Vast Grimm with some random generated characters. And then you have a table of 50 possible adventure ideas. Pretty awesome. And then we've got our set of tables here at the end. So that's Vast Grimm, definitely in the Mork Borg style. Definitely up my street. Really happy to have this in my collection, and for reasonable shipping, no less, even from America. The book is really nice. As you can see, the quality is really good. Yeah, if you're in the UK, you got 15 quid worth for shipping. I would say just buy a bunch of stuff to make it worth it. We'll take a quick look at the GM screen, which, having seen the rules, I don't think is overly necessary, but I just love GM screens. Basically, that's my excuse. So if we look at the back artwork first, you can see it's a quite nice, compact 5-panel screen. So we've got a horrible worm thing, giant worm with a spacecraft flying out of it. And there's a circuit here, which must be a tribute, I'm guessing. And then we've got some astro zombies and various other dead void revenant type people here. Pretty cool. When it comes to the charts and tables inside, there's some useful stuff in here. So there's your random human name table for humans, bots, and others. Your cosmic treasures. Random space travel stuff. So when you're traveling one place to another, things might happen. Things you can loot from the dead. So what's your worm? Basically, Roll a d6 when in close contact with the Grim. If it's a 1 to 2, you've been infected. Okay, then there's your Wandering Grim, which you can roll on. You can get mangy dogs, mutated polar bears, raccoons, infested fox, child-sized opossum, and extra rare ones. Ooh, gore-covered goats, decaying hippos. Summary of combat, how that works. Crits, fumbles, armor tiers, fumble chart, broken chart, reactions. So if you encounter a creature and they might not necessarily be hostile, but they could react in another way, you can roll the reactions. There's another something coming back from old D&D, also the morale. So most creatures want to survive and won't fight to their death, unlike modern D&D where every fight's to the death all the time, which I find really strange. So you roll for morale. If the leader is killed, half the group of enemies is eliminated, or a single enemy has only 1/3 of its HP left. If you roll greater than the creature's morale, roll d6 to see if the enemy 1 to 3 flees or 4 to 6 surrenders. If for the Grim, 1 to 3 flees, 4 to 6 parasitic worm leaves the shell of the body it was inhabiting, slithering down the nearest hole, crack, or cranny. Then they have how tests work as well, and a summary of difficulty ratings. So really nice and cool, badass GM screen, I have to say. I love the fact that it has a little slipcase as well. I do have a lot of GM screens that are in big stacks everywhere, and they do tend to get a bit dinged up, but having the slipcase keeps them nice and protected, which is cool. All right, now we'll take a quick look at the Space Cruisers expansion. I'm not going to go too deep into this stuff. We've got some new charts here. So we've got a That Which Remains chart. We've got an interior condition of a ship, hitchhiking quest, starship souvenirs, name charts for your starship's name. We've got space travel and things that can break. How critical is the part? So if something breaks, you need to roll on this and see whether you're dead in space or you can repair stuff. An index of key rules, key tables, and the different starships. So let's see what we got here. All right. Again, link to the safety tools. Okay, so we've got more background material, just sort of rehashing what came before. Now you can create a starship. So select a starship class or randomly roll d8. Follow ship instructions for capabilities, equipment, and mods. Roll for abilities, roll for HP, roll for characteristics, roll for battle scars. Randomly acquire starting mods, d4 or d6 twice. Starting weapons do not count against mod slots. If you have fewer mod slots than starting mods rolled, you have a difficult decision to make. Give the ship a name, although it will quickly be forgotten once the bucket of bolts breaks down in the middle of the cosmos. Okay, so you can get an expedition explorer, a recon ship, family truckster, intergalactic taxi, DIY death trap, which cobbled together from other stuff, or the clinic crawler. So some equipment still functions 60% of the time. Okay. Then we have minimal crew capabilities. Small and nimble, 3d6 plus 2. Maneuver, power 4d6, max capacity 3. 3d6 minus 1 fortitude. D2 on the weapons table. Tier 4 armor. Additional mod slots 1. Speed 4. Crew minimum 1. And it has some special possibilities here. So punch it. Burn a point of power to double your speed for 2 rounds. Small escape pod. You can hit a trailer to increase your maximum load. Fancy paint job. Custom spoiler. Gives it a plus 2 maneuver. Makes no sense in space. I love it. Punch buggy. Hey, you've got a laser on your whip. Page 34. Okay. You can remove that for another mod slot. So what's the deal with this one? There are 6 different types of minimal crew ships. Okay. Interesting. Then we have the transports. Yacht hull. Vessel belonged to one of the richest assholes in the verse before they joined the Grim. Looks pretty and has all the latest gadgets, but doesn't have much else. Many of the amenities were destroyed when it was raided. So it only has an interstellar flare gun. Okay, do not roll on the weapons table. The BUS, but ugly ship. Commuter shuttle. Still smells like vomit from the drunks who used to ride this thing from one end of the verse to the other just to have somewhere warm to sleep. Jailboat. Big, clunky, and impenetrable. Lots of space on board if you like sleeping on slabs. Plenty of dried grains for cooking up sludge. Colonist relocator. Multiple cryo freezers. Galaxy Express. So it didn't have enough credits to travel by yacht hull, but wanted more comfort than a relocator. It's a space train riddled with passengers sleeping in dining compartments. And not built for hauling much other than bodies. We're going to have a mini fridge, a medical transport ship, move refrigerated and sub-zero supplies to colonies on the outskirts, in high demand. Transport capabilities, in it for the long haul, power 4d6 plus 2, max capacity 4, fortitude 3d6 plus 1, big and bulky 3d6 minus 2 maneuver. Roll d2 on the weapons table, tier 6 armor, additional mod slots 2, speed 2, crew minimum 2. It could be boarded up, it could be well engineered, it could be loaded for bear with a railgun. You could have just the tip, the bridge can detach from the body, increasing speed of maneuver by plus 2. Okay, constantly transmits phatomite chatter while powering up. Non-grim wandering counters turn tail 50% of the time. We've got cruisers, so light cruiser, battle cruiser, science boat, star galley, stealth cruiser, or ram jam. Okay. Utterly devoid of any comfort items, but slams into stuff. Armor tier 8. Cool. The stealth one, light cruiser, plenty of room for a larger sized legion. Battle cruiser, heavy with armor and weapons, almost no comfort items. Armor tier 6, D4 on the weapons table. Science boat, it's tier 4 armor, but there's no weapons, I guess. Star galley, fast insertion with heavy armaments. Tier 4 armor and D3 on the weapons. Cruiser capabilities. Start with 1. Frontin', you get fake armaments, intimidating as hell, plus 4 to morale. Dune buggin', comes complete with a 2-person foldable dune buggy. Nitro YOLO, plus 2 to your speed rating. D20 combots you can disperse to approaching vessels, randomly roll to see which starship's communication they mimic. Cooking with gas, you regain D2 HP per meal, even if you're just having a snack. Or a big stick, you've got an extra ion torpedo cannon welded to the belly of your beast. 1 in 10 chance it explodes when fired, dealing damage on your starship. It takes up 2 mod slots. Okay, accuracy maneuver 3d6 plus 1, power 46, max capacity 4. Lightweight 3d6 minus 2 fortitude, speed 3, crew minimum 3, additional mod slots 4. I've got freighters, garbage getters, fractured freighters, precious haulers, tankers, crowd-funded slow boat, colony in a box, instant colony. So we're getting into bigger and bigger stuff now, but these are for hauling freight, basically. And then, in general, freighter capabilities, you get 1. Roll a D3 on the weapons table unless noted above. Big and bulky, power 4d6 plus 1. Maximum 6. Fortitude 3d6 plus 1. Maneuver 3d6 minus 1. Tier 6 armor, speed 2, crew minimum 3, and 4 mod slots. And so they can be magnetized. They can have tier 8 armor. They can be a reefer truck, hauling drugs, I guess. Surface to planet hauler built in. Non-military stealth technology. Built to look like an asteroid. And so you can go undetected. That's cool. Warships. Wow, okay. You can have a Fracken frigate. So, tier 6 armor, D4 on the weapons table. Crew minimum 18, though. Wow. Destroyer. Tier 6 armor, D4 on the weapons table. Crew minimum 12. Size 2. Dreadnought. 4 mod slots on each side. Okay, 12 D10 HP. Tier 8 armor, D6 on the weapons table. Crew minimum 18, size 3. Super Destroyer. Built for annihilation. Only 20 were ever built. 12d12 HP, tier 8 armor, 2d6 on the weapons table, crew minimum 20, and size 4. Wow, huge. So they have capabilities as well. You start with 1. Cloak and Swagger. You can burn a point of power to activate cloaking. Has a mini version of itself, just big enough to hold the minimum crew. Colony conversion. So it's got an agricultural greenhouse. Can help you live there for years, but the weapons no longer work. You could have advanced artillery, spend a point of power to cause double max damage. Wow. Burn a point of power to automatically succeed on a single test. Or you can have 2 power cores, roll twice for power and add them together. Ooh. Built for war, power 46 plus 2, max 8. Accuracy 3d6 plus 2, made to endure, fortitude 3d6 plus 1. Speed 3, additional mod slot 6. Okay. Then we've got shot rods. So these are flying solo. Okay. Kind of like space motorcycles, space choppers, it looks like. So you got the Roid Ratter, small and everything but personality. The Chopper, yeah, cold steel molded especially for your ass. Thin and sleek, zoom stick, light enough to carry under your arm or strapped to your back. Wow. Dome disc, single shooters are always in fashion. Shot rods, capabilities, you get an exhaust cloud. Spend a point of power to kick out a trail of center scrambling particles. You get a sidecar, carry 1 additional person and reduce speed by 1. Razor rail slide. The bottom of your starship is lined with sharp rails. You can slide along another surface, cutting for 3d6 damage. And you can be under the radar, potentially. So small and insignificant, your starship is not picked up by any sensors. Power 46 minus 1, max capacity 2. Turns on a dime, maneuver 3d6 plus 2. Special power. Burn a point of power during interplanetary or interstellar travel. They're too small for longer voyages. Roll a d2 on the weapons table, speed 4, crew 1. That's maximum, by the way. Additional mod slots 1. So these really are just loners ships. So abilities for ships, you have maneuver, accuracy, fortitude, and power. And once again, you roll 3d6 with the appropriate modifiers for your ship class. At 0 HP, your starship is broken. Captain should roll. At 1, you get system shutdown to maintain life support. At 2, oxygen levels are dangerously low. All breathing legionnaires fall unconscious for D8 rounds before emergency systems restore oxygen. Hull is breached. Anyone in that area is sucked into the vacuum of space. Or major damage has been sustained. Your space whip is scrap. If it takes damage equal to more than 50% of its total HP after being broken, your starship is obliterated. Okay. Starship's logs. This is your personality. Get some character to your ship. It could be each section of the starship is controlled by a different AI personality. One's Shit King Saul's personal vessel. He wants it back. Previous owner painted pink bunnies inside and out. Plumbing's never worked quite right. Green mucus flooded the bridge at one point. All the buttons stick. Ooh. Toxic leak killed the entire crew. Trapped on the starship. The previous tenants haunted as void remnants. Oh god. Battle scars. Roll once per starship. Okay, so this is stuff like all original seating has been gutted. It could be a rust bucket. Squeaky noises with all doors. Exterior graffiti covers the ship with dead alive and dead inside all over. Giant human-sized shaped hole in the hull has been patched over from the inside. Wow. Enormous claw marks, ripped grooves throughout the interior. Hair and blood are fused into the lacerations. Very comforting. Then we got weapons, lasers, unlimited power, supply, damage based on ship's power rating. Power 1, 2d8, 2, 2d10, 3, 2d12, 4, 3d8, 5, 3d10, 6, 3d12. One mod slot takes one PC action, shoots in a straight line on starship sizes 1 to 2, 180 arc on size 3 plus, range 10. 180 arc railgun, 25 credits per round of ammo, 3d8 damage, one mod slot, one action, range 8. 360 railguns, same but 2 mod slots. Ion torpedo cannons, 400 credits per torpedo, 3d12 damage, 3 mod slots, 1 action, range 14. A tractor beam, lock on, takes accuracy DR12. In PvP, test accuracy against maneuver, 2 mod slots, 1 PC action, range 4. And finally, Annihilator, 6d12, 4 mod slots, 2 actions, range 20. Wow. And you get armor up to tier 8, which is minus 3d6. Speed, so that determines how fast you move across hexes on the map of the system. Capacity, starships can hold as much cargo as will fit within their walls. Okay, simple enough. Fuel/power. So ships require minimum power 1 to fly through space or exit any atmosphere. Power cores are interchangeable between ships of the same class. As long as the ship has points in power, they can be spent on specific capabilities or weapons that the ship is outfitted with. If the core maintains power 1 or higher, it can be recharged at certain locations throughout the verse, but there will be a cost. So you can also scavenge power cores from other ships. You can burn power to deal maximum damage for one attack, or double speed for one round, as well as other capabilities you have. So modding, okay. Add class capabilities, increase an ability to max of 6, or gain an add-on. And you roll on a d6 to determine that. It's from 1/2 the starship's value to 2x the starship's value. Scrapyard rules roll d6 twice on each table. That's what you can find at the salvage station. So you get add-ons, escape pods, metal detecting magnets, life force scanners, Grimm satellites, beckoning the Grimm to a location. You can mod your power core, you can mod your defense with stuff like, for power you can have a dual core, you can have a backup generator, reversible thrusters, turbo pedal. Defense you can get reflectors, some more armor, cloaking tech, holographic displacement to give a different signature of a different ship class, or disguised signal frequency, making the starship appear to be filled with the Grimm. That's cool. You can also equip new weapons like piercer blades, ram saws, big-ass drills, clawed arms, giant nets, turret fireball throwers, EMP. Alright, you get a pulse pounder, 420 credits per missile, range 10. Electric eel net expands 2x the width of the starship, scoops up smaller objects, accuracy test as the vehicle cruises by. Burn a point of power to engage EMP. Slam Shocker, 2 slots. EMP engages when 2 starships collide. Electro Cannon, 1 slot. Burn a point of power for each EMP cannonball. That's cool. And there's Starship Tributes as well. Can be used by anyone on board the vessel. Presence DR12 to activate, but you have to spend a Neuromancy point. So you can repair, floating in space with materials on hand, repair 3d4 HP per day. When you're docked, repair 4d6 per day. Base repairs, d6 HP can be made while in flight. Legionnaires' presence plus Starship's fortitude DR14. You can have AI on board with different personalities. Nandor likes puns, wants to be friends. Lexi, inquisitive. Heinz 57, self-cleaning, must keep the starship presentable and will disregard orders if a mess is present. No nonsense, very direct, is Vector. Soundwave, ain't no party like a Soundwave party because a Soundwave party don't stop. 10 quantums, dance music, blares across comms once 5 or more quantums are tasked. Oh, okay, so they have the number of quantums is how many things they can do, I guess. Unicron dislikes taking commands, rebels against orders, but it has 12 quantums. Oh, that's a bitch, isn't it? Good 3's fuel and fix. So this is a traveling station. So power core recharge rates, 950 credits per point. Only for an emo bot. No bot, no fuel. Bot parts only. The more pieces, the more juice you'll get. Part condition. This fell off the back of a freighter and sat on only a plane for years. Banged up, it still works. One good flight before it's done for. This is a service bot. Short and rusty, records all conversations. HP 6, morale 12. Steel skin tier 3, minus D6. Crushing claw, D6 damage. Tangle Station, surrounded by circular ship catchers that prevent unwanted starships from landing on the surface. Sole purpose is to keep the network up and running. Kid Arachnid is the one meat bag, along with a slew of bots who reside in this constantly traveling orbital. You need to maneuver DR-22 test or be caught in a ship catcher's web. Once ensnared, Kid Arachnid will override the ship's system, taking complete control. And there he is. HP 7, Morale 8, Biotic Suit Tier 1, Cybernetic Eye, and communicate silently with all the bots on the station. Any data received from the kid has something extra attached to it. Okay, so he can trace you, he might have corrupted files, malware laced, so you have a 30% chance of having your data banks erased each day. Or it can be bugged. All your communications are bugged. Roach Coach 2, okay. Carl Jr.'s Daily Special. Oh, these are menus. Side effects of consumption. Okay, interesting. You can be food poisoned, space roach eggs in your belly, grow another leg, alright? Unnaturally thirsty, swallowed a tracer hidden in food. Cockroach Carl Jr. Okay. Wow. You're really taking your life in your hands just buying food in this universe. Alright, then we got our abandoned ship sparks. These are some ideas for adventures in abandoned ships. What dwells there now? What's the status? A random feature. And sample rooms. Cool. And then we've got space travel tables and some other stuff. Alright. Last but very much not least, we have the Space Raiders expansion. Again, it's very thin. But yeah, we do have some new character classes and stuff. So we'll quickly check this out. So we've got a Cosmic Booty Table. Raider Deceptions and Devilry on a D8. Secret Stash stuff. Okay, so what's the deal with this? So the Raiders, these are the people that go pillaging. The space pirates of the setting. Here be killer clowns. Okay, so we got kind of space juggalos, I guess. You have D8 factions: Claws of Doom, Cyber Sharks, Killer Clowns, Gray Skulls, Jolly Dodgers. If you roll 6 or 7, you get Reapers, 8s, or Revenants. D4 classes: Brutal Savage, Merciless Mercenary, Plunderluster, and Salty Dog. Alright. Brutal Savagers. Okay, you get +1 strength and toughness on your roll, D10 on the weapons table, and D2 on the armor table. Okay. You're a ferocious scoundrel, putrid mouth, blah blah blah. Most of your humanity has been routed from your soul. Skills include Trigger Happy. Attack the closest creature twice per round until defeated. Stare into the abyss. Enemies who lock eyes with you suffer -4 morale. You love eating human meat. Gives you HP, favors. Yeah, okay. Your left arm is in a constant state of transition. A gangrenous green goo feeds on your appendage. The magical rot eats away at what it touches, D6 damage. A cyborg monkey follows you around, stealing scraps when it can. It understands you, but only listens 30% of the time. It'll throw feces at you just to hear a crew laugh. Defense with DR10, D4 HP. You filed your teeth to points sharper than the finest knives. Okay, D4 damage, D6 damage on bare flesh. Begins with 2d6 times 10 credits and D2 favors. HP, toughness plus D8. Roll twice on battle scars. Okay. Merciless Mercenary. It's all about the cred sticks. Don't give a shit. For the right price, you'll switch sides. Alright. You get 3d6 plus 1 for strength and presence. D8 on the weapons table, D4 on armor. 2d8 times 10 credits and D2 favors. HP, toughness plus D8. You've seen some shit. From it, you picked up one of the following skills. Indestructible. At 0 HP, you have a 50% chance of rebounding with D4 HP. When at half HP, gain an extra attack every round until resting. You can craft 1 bomb each day on a presence DR10 test. 2d6 damage, 30-foot radius. Wow. Natural Nihilism, +2 on test to resist others' influence on you. Stomp activated Electroblade, extend from your boots for D8 damage. Troublemaker, you start shit wherever you go. Everyone else in your legion gains +2 on all rolls the first round of combat. Cool, alright. Plunderluster, so begin with 2Ds, 8 plus times 10 credits, and D4 favors, HP, toughness plus D4. Hornswoggler, +1 to agility and presence on your rolls. Roll a D8 on the weapons table, D2 on the armor. You got your random origin stuff, and then you begin with one of the following. Fancy Pants, you're authoritative and confident, +2 to persuade. Dramatic Flare, crit on 19 to 20. Cutlass Cult. Alright, you replace your hand with an Electro Cutlass, D6 damage, 2 charges per strike. Where it attaches, stinks of decay. Lovely. Grim Compass. Pocket-sized compass has been hacked and modded to start spinning wildly when the Grim are near. Enhanced Spyglass with an infrared setting. Presence DR12 test to see cloaked ships. Ooh, nice. Misdirected. Distract with your flourish once per scene. Reduce DR for your crew by 2 for 1 round. Cool. Alright, and then we have the Salty Dog. You've been soaring the skies as far back as you can remember. Stealing, plundering, and salvaging is where you shine brightest. All you've ever known is the way of the raider. Your abilities, you've got +2 for presence, D6 on the weapons table, D4 on the armor table, 2d6 times 10 credits, and D4 favors, toughness plus D6 HP. Skills, you can fly every type of ship, +2 on tests for ship abilities. Scurvy Spit, when up close and personal, others suffer -2 to rolls from your putrid stench. You got a metal mandible with sharp pointy teeth, D6 damage on 6, roll again and add it. +4 to tests when repairing or altering ships if you're a ship talker. You can be a natural born pillager, +2 on presence tests when searching for valuables. Been there, know that. So +2 to tests requiring knowledge of the verse. Cool. Alright, now we've got a nice little hex map here with Raider faction controlled quadrants. That's pretty cool. So I guess you can kind of fight for dominance between the different factions. Claws of Doom. They're a Manchine Raider faction. Doom 1 is always the leader. Network chatter. Possible threads found when searching for speculative, partially proven, cross-reference. Okay. So you've got some rumors about these factions. Partially proven stuff marked with P. Cross-referenced is C. And S is stuff we're not sure about. Okay. Partially proven, for example. Faction have been stealing parts from a Manchine factory. Cross-reference, been making yearly pilgrimages to Kid Arachnid, Doom 1 has. Also cross-reference, the Claws of Doom are planning to take over control of Marauder's cryosphere. Then we have Doom 1 himself. Pincer on one arm and a claw on the other. HP 13, morale 9, no armor. Shined up pincer, D8, 2 and 6 chance it will break a bone, causing D4 additional damage. Claw, D4. Attacks with both the pincer and the claw each round. Value of machine parts. This faction includes 2d6 additional raiders with Manchine arms. Each raider's name ends with the next available number. So much Doom. We have the Cyber Sharks. So they replace their jaws with menacing mandibles. Led by Captain Zara, they have a hack tribute traveling tentacles. Covers a starship in an organic mass of tentacles that rip and tear to any other vessel within reach. Lasts 2d6 rounds, 3d12 damage. Yikes. See, these tributes are pretty powerful. The crew, Captain Zara, HP 6, morale 12, no armor, trap jaw D4, ancient sword D4, values discretion. Additional crew, so you got torched, wrenched, ripped, trash, and space hog. Xantar could be anyone, master of disguise, looks different each time. Zara's twin brother, HP 5, morale 6, no armor, trap jaw D6, detachable and spring loaded like a bear trap. Blaster D6, 4 charges per use, 12 charges. Values new outfits. Fair enough. Then we've got the Killer Clowns. Clowning. Replace existing skills on the Space Raider subclass with these. Clowning out. When clown dancing, defense rolls are +2. Once per session, pull something unexpected out of your sleeve. Hawk your nose to disrupt all batteries in the room for D4 rounds. Squirting flower. Attached to your poison bladder. Oh my god. Presence DR10 test, D4 damage. Miniature elephant. Genetically modified pachyderm follows you around carrying equipment. It's always hungry. Defends with DR12, D6 HP. Void puppets. Twice per session, cast shadow puppets. Strength DR12 test to consume D4 creatures, shrinking them down to the size of a cockroach. Led by Captain Gonzo, the Killer Clowns sail the bleak verse determined to make things more colorful. Known crew, Buzo, Grimal, Grok, Sunshine, and Fizzbitch. Balloon animals. The flaccid balloons Killer Clowns carry are pre-laced with colorful toxins that spread when the balloon explodes. Toxic effects occur after inhalation or skin exposure. So you roll on a D8 here. Blue, general anesthesia, so people fall asleep. You have laughing gas, blood rage, pink elephants, okay, hallucinate. Creeping crawlers on all visible creatures. Purple rain. Acidic showers that ignore armor. Terrified. Pass toughness D16, DR16 or flee by any means necessary. Orange fizz. Covers a 15-foot diameter with a sticky growing fizz. You have to escape with DR14 agility. If stuck, strength DR16 to escape, and then it hardens like concrete. White room, D2 nearby creatures, toughness DR12 test, or enter into a small empty padded room inside the subconscious. Trapped there, catatonic for D6 rounds. Each Killer Clown keeps one black balloon lined with an antidote to save themselves if their mask is compromised. Wow. So you can get a balloon belt with 3D6 toxic laced balloons. Includes one manual air pump. If inflated by mouth, 50% chance of inhaling some of the toxins. Squirting flower. Hack tribute. Collapsible clown car. Miniaturizes a starship to the size of a toy. Any living creature inside dies instantly. Smiley. Breathing apparatus covers the mouth and nose, filtering out toxins. A creepy smile painted or sculpted on the outside. A bladed bow tie. D6 damage returns when thrown. We've got a cotton killer. This sweet scientifically spun decimator will devour all creatures to avoid being eaten. HP 6, no morale, no armor. Corrosive salivations. Special decomposition, toughness DR14 test, or gear armor touch will not function properly. Got the Grey Skulls, led by Kaldor, the newly recognized Raider faction. Got some known crew here with sharpened teeth and stuff. They're not fully devout, but are far more grim and sympathetic, with some being outspoken worshippers of Fatuma. We've got Hack Tribute, We Are They. The user's worms enter a state of parasitic pleasure for D4 days. Wow. We got some network chatter on them. Confirmed stuff. We've got Kaldor and Doralt, the leader of the Reapers, are siblings, and Kaldor is an unscathed, so has had one of every worm and not died. Wow, that's cool. Okay, then we've got Princess Pain and the Jolly Dodgers. They're often overlooked as they're known for their discretion when smuggling goods. The captain was dubbed Princess Pain by Kit Arachnid after Vid surfaced across the net of torture she endured at the hand of Shit King Saul. Not only would she not give him the information she desired, she also escaped the waste barge's hell trap with a legion of other prisoners. Quiet with a soul-penetrating stare, HP 8, morale 14, no armor, mini-disc detonators, D6, 15-foot radius. Antique boot knife, D4, stolen from a member of King Saul's court. Values silence. Makes sense. The Reapers, the oldest Space Raiders faction. Until recent years, becoming one of them required an extremely rigorous vetting process, but they had to loosen their standards ever so slightly each year as humanity gets smaller and smaller. Okay, Captain Sully, Bloodbeard, and the Legion of the Revenant's Revenge have claimed the graveyard territory. There are actually a crew of Revenants. Interesting. Got HP 18, Sully Bloodbeard does. Was vented by Screw 313 years ago. Currently inhabits the body of a 20-something raider who can barely grow a single whisker. His remains are hidden somewhere in the graveyard. Got an Electro Whip with D6 damage recharged per use, D2 uncharged. If the host body is destroyed, Sully will try to possess another, toughness DR16, or become Sully's home until he decides to leave or his remains are destroyed. Values loyalty. Starswain Sven sees the Revenge as his own ship that he will one day captain. That's interesting. He's got an Electro Cutlass D6, 6 charges per strike, and values secrets. And then we have their known crew. They've got 2D12 additional Revenant apprentices, random Space Raiders, somewhere in the graveyard. Wow. And then we've got the Curse of the Revenant's Revenge, which is a hex crawl adventure. Okay, so what's known? Okay, so one of the factions is hire your legion or bully them to heading to the graveyard in search of Captain Sully Bloodbeard's remains. Or Shit King Saul has put out a bounty for the Revenant's destruction. Bring back their ship, a light cruiser known as the Revenant's Revenge, with no remaining raiders, and the Lord of the Waste Barge will be in your legion's debt. Okay, you have some rumors and some stuff to put in there. Graveyard tables. What can be salvaged? Got our sample rooms, random features for the rooms, starship status, starship tributes, hacked by raiders, D4 mods, and that's it. So there you go. I talked a lot considering how small these books are, but they are really cool. I hope you could enjoy the quality of the artwork because of the shiny nature of these and the fact that it's already dark at this time almost here in Scotland. I didn't have the best lighting for today. I couldn't use my lighting rig because it just made everything really shiny to the point of unreadability. So I hope that you can see what I was actually talking about. But yeah, I really think this game's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to do some one-shots with this. Just use the random character creator. Get my group to roll up some expendable space freaks, and we will go and try not to be killed by worms or, just everything else which is out to kill you. So, looks like a lot of fun. Great variation on Mork Borg with a different theme, but the rules are basically exactly the same. So, if you ever played Mork Borg and you want to depart from fantasy and do a little space travel, I think this is definitely going to be up your alley. And there's tons of support already, because besides the stuff I bought, there's also a couple volumes of adventures and other stuff that I didn't buy. So, I do plan to keep an eye on this thing, and hopefully if there's more stuff coming out, they do a Kickstarter for more stuff or whatever, I will certainly be happy to support it. I think it's a lot of fun, and I love the look of these expansions with this metallic sheen. It's very, very cool. I'm still admiring that. But yeah, rules light, but still D&D-like in its own way, and a hell of a lot of fun, it seems to me. So, and actual reasonable price shipping to the UK. Wonderful. What more could you ask for? So that's Vast Grimm. I hope you all enjoyed that. If you have any questions about it, let me know. If you have experience with it, I'd definitely be interested to hear about it. And any hot tips for running it would be appreciated. I do, like I said, plan to do some one-shots because I think it'll be super easy for people to pick up and a ton of fun. So yeah, until I see you next time, please, hit like, hit subscribe if you feel like it. I'd love to see your comments below, and I hope to see you in our next video as well. So take care, be safe out there, and see you soon. All right, bye-bye.